Skip.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. We're talking about Yule, Sisterhood of the Rising Phoenix. Presentation by Carolyn Roberto, Karen French, and Audrey Westcott will be reading couple stories for us tonight. Meaning and core themes. Rebirth of the sun is one of the main things that we are concentrating on. Yule marks the longest night of the year, after which the days begin to lengthen. It symbolizes the rebirth of the sun god and the promise of the returning warmth. Renewal and hope. It is a time for introspection, rest, and planning. We honor the dark night of the soul with the faith that light always returns, setting intentions for the year ahead. Sacred symbols. The Yule log, traditionally burned to welcome light, ashes offer protection. And with the Yule log, you're actually supposed to keep part of your log for the next year and put it into the fire for continuality of your magic. Evergreen wreath represents the wheel of the year and eternal life. Candles, gold, red, and white candles symbolize the sun's fire. Sun wheel, an ancient symbol of the solar cycle. The story of Beldor, the sun god. Beldor, the most beautiful and beloved of gods, represents the sun. His mother Frigg secured oaths from all things not to harm him except for the small mistletoe. And tonight we are going to have the story of Beldor read by Audrey Westcott, one of our moderators. Audrey?
Hi guys. Many of you know that uh I work in the Norse Pantheon, and Yule is very heavy in the Norse mythology and beliefs. So the story of Beldor is very closely tied with mistletoe, and uh I will go ahead and read it. I do apologize ahead of time for crappy mispronunciation on some names and words, and because yeah, it's hard to pronounce it. All right, the story of Beldor, the death of Beldor. Beldor was one of the most beloved of all gods. He was the son of Odin, the chief of the gods, and the benevolent sorceress, the goddess Frigg of Frigga. Baldur was a generous, joyful, and courageous character who gladdened the hearts of all who spent time with him. And when therefore he began to have ominous dreams of some grave misfortune befalling him, the fearful gods appointed Odin to discover their meaning. Baldur's father wasted no time in mounting his steed, Sleipnir, and riding into the underworld to consult a dead seeress, who he knew would especially be wise in such matters. And when one of his countless disguises he reached the cold and misty underworld, he found the halls arranged in splendor, as if some magnificent feast were about to occur. Odin woke the seeress and questioned her concerning the festivity, and she responded that the quest of honor would be no other than Beldor. She merely recounted how the god would meet his doom, stopping only when she realized from the desperate nature of Odin's entries who this disguised wanderer truly was. And indeed, all that she prophesied would come to pass. Odin returned in sorrow to Asgard, the god celestial.
What in the world?
Okay. We all got muted. That's what happened.
Okay.
So if Carolyn will unmute everybody, then we'll continue, or just us at least. Um,
Just continue.
okay.
Okay. After these oaths were secured, the gods made a sport out of the situation. They threw sticks, rocks, and anything else in hand at Beldor, and everyone laughed as these things bounced off and left the shining god unharmed. The Willy and disloyal Loki sensed an opportunity for mischief. In disguise, he went to Frigg and asked her, "Did all things swear oaths to spare Baldur from harm?" "Oh, yes," the goddess replied, "everything except mistletoe." But the mistletoe was so small and innocent a thing that I felt it was superstitious to ask for an oath. What harm could it do to my son? Immediately upon hearing this, Loki departed, locating the mistletoe, and carved a sphere out of it and brought it to where the gods were playing their new favorite game. He approached the blind god Heldor, an Old Norse meaning slayer, and said, "You must feel quite left out, having to sit back here away from the merriment, and not being able to get given a chance to show Beldar the honor of proving his invincibility." And the blind god concurred. "Here," said Loki, handing him the shaft of mistletoe. "I will point your hand in the direction where Baldur stands, and you throw this branch at him." So Haldor threw the mistletoe. It pierced the god straight through, and he fell down dead on the spot. The gods found themselves unable to speak as they trembled with anguish and fear. They knew that this event was the first prestige of Ragnarok, the downfall and death of just not only themselves, but the very cosmos they maintained. And at last, Frigg composed herself enough to ask if there were any among them who were brave, loyal, and compassionate enough to journey to the land of the dead and offer Hel, the death goddess, a ransom for Baldur's release. Hermund, which was the obscure son of Odin, offered to undertake this mission. Odin instructed Sleipnir to bear Hermund to the underworld, and off he went. The gods arranged for a lavish funeral for their fallen friend. They turned Beldor's ship, Hermungi, the ship with a circle at the stem, into a pyre fitting for a great king. And when the time came to launch the ship out to sea, however, the gods found the ship stuck in the sand and themselves unable to force it to budge. After many failed attempts, they summoned the brawniest being in the cosmos, a certain giantess named Hyrokini, arrived in Asgard riding on a wolf using poisonous snakes for reins. She dismounted and walked to the prow of the ship and gave it such a mighty push. The land quaked as she was able to free it from the sand. As Beldur's body was carried onto the ship, his wife, Nina, was overcome with such grief that she died there on the spot and was placed in the pyre alongside her husband. The fire was kindled, and Thor hollowed the flames by holding his hammer over them. Odin laid upon the pyre his ring, Draupnir, and Beldur's horse was led to the flames. All kinds of beings throughout the nine worlds attended the ceremony: gods, giants, elves, dwarves, valkyries, and others. Together they stood and mourned as they watched the burning ship disappear over the ocean. Meanwhile, Hermund rode to 9 nights and 9 days through the darker and deeper valleys of his quest to rescue the part of Beldor that had been sent to hell. When he came to the river, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Golgi, which is meaning roaring, and Maljun in Old Norse, meaning furious battle, asked him his name and his purpose, adding it was strange that his footballs were thundering as if an entire army was following him, especially since his face still held the color of the living. He answered to her satisfaction. She allowed him to cross over into Hell's realm. Sleipnir leapt over the wall and around the doleful land. Upon entering and dismounting, he spotted Hell's throne and Beldor, pale and downcast, sitting at the seat of honor next to her. Herman spent the night, and then in the morning came. He pleaded with Hel to release his brother, and telling her of the great sorrow that all living things, especially the gods, felt for his absence. Hell responded, and if this is so, then let every living thing in the cosmos weep for him, and I will send him back to you. But if any refuse, he will remain in my presence. Hermann rode back to Asgard and told the tidings to the gods, who straightway sent messengers throughout the world to bear the news to all of their inhabitants. And indeed, everything went for Beldar, everything that is, except for one giantess, Toki, which means thanks. It was no other than Loki in disguise. And as Toki, he coldly told the messengers, let Hel hold on to what she has. So Beldar was condemned to remain in Hell's darkness, dampness, and cold. Never again would he grace the lands of the living with his glad and light and exuberance. That is one heavier idea of mistletoe. We run it. We're gonna run into it later, guys. Where you're gonna see multiple different ways mistletoe was looked upon in many mythologies. So let's continue.
The promise of return. Just as the sun dies at Yule, only to be reborn, myth foretells Beldar's eventual return after Ragnarok, bringing light and life back to the world. Energy focus and chakras. Your root chakra. Muladhara. Is that how you say it, Karen? What'd you say?
Muladhara.
Muladhara. Okay, thank you. Grounding and stability, essential for survival and endurance during the cold winter months. Solar plexus. Is that
Manipura.
Manipura?
Manipura.
Manipura. The inner sun rekindling, personal power, confidence, and optimism as the solar system renews. The crown chakra, Sahasrara,
Sahasrara. Sahasrara.
Sahara,
We'll just leave it there.
Sriracha. How's that? No.
Sahasrara.
As divine connection, spiritual rebirth, and aligning with the cosmic cycles of the universe. Spells and rituals for Yule. Sun returning spells. Use gold candles and chants to invite warmth back into your life. Intention setting. Write goals on bay leaves or parchment and burn them in the Yule fire to manifest in the new year. Ancestral offerings. The veil is thin. Leave food and drink on your altar to honor those who came before. Cleansing. Sweep out stagnant energy with a besom or use salt to purify your home for a fresh start. I'll let you guys know if you put salt in your corners of your room, it'll clear up the negativity right up. And it'll run spirits out too. Colors of the season. Red, life force, is what it stands for. Fertility, blood, and energy of the Holly King. Green, evergreen life, nature's endurance through winter. The Oak King. Gold, the returning sun, abundance, divine light, solar energy. Silver, the moon, the goddess, and the reflective quality of snow. White, purity, clarity, new beginnings, and spiritual cleansing. Crystals and stones you can use during Yule. Stones of light and grounding. Sunstone, joy, warmth, and personal power. Citrine, abundance and solar energy. Garnet, passion and grounding during winter. Snowflake, obsidian, balance light and darkness. Clear quartz, amplifying intentions for the new year.
Snowflake obsidian.
Sacred herbs and plants. Whoops, turned blue for a minute there. Nature sleeps, but these evergreens and resins keep the magic alive. Holly stands for protection, defense, and masculine energy. Pine and fir, healing, purification, and grounding. Frankincense, spiritual elevation and solar connection. Bay leaves, wisdom, wishes, and protection. Cinnamon, prosperity, warmth, and solar magic. We have the myth of the mistletoe. And Audrey is going to take over from here, and she's going to read you another story in a minute
Go ahead
about the
and
12 days of Yule. So,
go
Audrey,
ahead. No, she's in the bathroom. Go ahead
oh,
and
I'll
read the
read it
myths of
then.
mistletoe.
I'll read the mistletoe. The Druids. Mistletoe was sacred because it grew on the holy oak without touching the earth. It was harvested in midwinter with a golden sickle and caught in a white cloth to preserve its celestial power. Frigg's tears. In Norse myth, after Beldar's death, his mother Frigg wept tears that turned into white berries. She decreed it a plant of peace, leading to the custom of kissing beneath it. Symbolism. Growing between the earth and sky, it represents the divine spark of life surviving in the dead of winter.
Okay. She's back.
She's
Sorry, again.
back.
Louder than
Okay, you want to
saying.
go over some more myths of the mistletoe? And then you can take
Sure.
it
I
over
mean,
from there?
I want to kind of add to the Norse myth here. We talk about, we've talked about how the modern interpretation of what she wanted to do, what Frigg declared as mistletoe, as a power of, a symbol of peace and love. Um, it also is seen as a token of death and a token of reconciliation. So the modern interpretation, it embodies duality. It's poisonous because we can't digest it, but it's also a cure. It's an idea of death and rebirth. And if you think about it, in Yule, in that aspect, we have the shortest day and the longest night. And this is when, in that mindset, the world is reborn. Even the smaller things hold the biggest power. It's used in rituals for healing and grief and restoring harmony and honoring oaths. Um, I'm gonna kind of scroll up here a little bit. Kind of like this because I'm more Celtic here. The more Celtic Druid tradition. The more Celtic Druid tradition, the all heal of the oak, the most influential modern pagan revival, the Golden Bow, sorry,
Oh,
thank you. And Pliny the Elder's The Natural History, the first century CE, he describes as a sacred Druidic rite. On the sixth day of the moon, white-clad druids would climb a sacred oak, and using the golden sickle, cut the mistletoe that grew upon it. It was caught in a white cloth before it touched the earth, for the contact with soil would profane it. The two white bulls were then sacrificed, and the mistletoe distributed as a cure for infertility and poison. So we wonder that question, why oak? Um, Mistletoe is rare on most oaks, but it does appear and is seen as the divine gift, life blooming on the king of trees in the deepest winter. The oak represents strength and endurance, and mistletoe, the spirit of the tree, its soul. So you're gonna kind of get a lot of this, not only with like Druid tradition, you're gonna see it with Norse tradition. You're actually gonna see it with Greco-Roman tradition. So it's a very, and you see it throughout most of these traditions where it's about protection, fertility, healing. In the 18th century England, customs of kissing under the mistletoe became widespread. And that's kind of, we now get that tradition now where if you kiss under a mistletoe, your love's gonna be there for a long time. Um, this also became where if you remove a berry, when the berries were gone, the luck would end. This is also we find this not I haven't seen a hand fasting uses, but some hand fastings actually use mistletoe as part of the ritual. It's also used in unions or amicable separations. Um, so I mean, I find that mistletoe is really really interesting. It was definitely a interesting roller coaster. We went out looking up mistletoe. I always really heavily associated with Norse, and to find out that it was different parts and different pantheons, like it's really intriguing because you so heavily associate with one particular spot, and then you see that it's actually used a lot more than what you thought, and you're like, oh, okay. Wait, we
Was that it?
yeah, for the
Okay.
most part on that one, yeah. Because it's so much. I don't want to go on like a whole.
Well, let's get back to the
Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Yep, go ahead.
Carolyn.
Incense and oil blends for Yule. Sacred solstice blend. Frankincense, myrrh, and pine for spiritual elevation, grounding, forest energy. Winter warmth. Orange, cinnamon, and clove invites joy, abundance, and warmth of the sun. Cleansing and purification. Sage, juniper, and cedar clears out the old year's stagnant energy.
Okay. So I do have a couple of them, and I have posted them to the group as well. So give me just a moment.
Can we, if we
Yes.
finish this and then
Oh,
we
I thought we
can,
were done. I do apologize.
no,
Oh, my
No, she has two loose incense that she wants to go over real quick because she's posted to the group.
oh,
yeah.
okay, if it's incense, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually found these I found these not too long ago because I was looking up loose incense to make for Yule. I actually thought these were really cool. Give me just a second. So I have a couple of them and I did post them to the group. So if you guys want to check them out later, they are posted. We have the classic Yule incense blend. Um, and I'm kind of wanting to do this one because it sounds so it sounds and probably smells amazing. You're gonna have 2 parts of frankincense resin, 2 parts pine needles dried, 1 part cedar shavings or dried leaves, 1 part juniper berries, a 1/4 part of cinnamon ground, a 1/4 part of nutmeg ground, 1/4 part of dried orange peel, and 1/4 part of ginger. And for me, this one sounds like what I would do in my Yule simmer pot. The only difference I think for me, I would want to add cranberry. I love cranberry is such a it kind of reminds me of more edible versions of mistletoe berries. If you kind of think about it, like in a sense, they're little round berries. They're little round berries. Um, but that's one of the. I'm trying to find the other. Okay, hang on. And then we have another one. It's called the Winter Nights Incense. Um, so it's gonna be 2 parts of juniper, 2 parts of mugwort, one
Bless
part
you.
cedar, 1 part 1 part pine resin, 1 part laurel leaves, 1 part chopped sweetgrass, and half a part of rosemary.
I will
Um,
say before you go on, laurel is also bay,
yeah.
so those are interchangeable. You take a drink.
Okay. Um, so that's a couple of what I have. Um, I was looking for more oils and I didn't really find any. They were, I found them more like shop wise. So,
We're going to your animals.
yay, we're gonna go off to spirit animals, and this one's really exciting. I do love a good spirit animal. Hang on 1 second. I just because like looking over, yeah. All right, so we're gonna go on to spirit animals.
Take it away, Carolyn.
Let's
Spirit
see.
animals in the zodiac. Totem of winter. Stag, the horned god. Connection to the forest. Bear, introspection, hibernation, and dreaming. Owl, wisdom, and seeing through the darkness. Astrology, Capricorn. Yule begins the season of Capricorn, which starts December 22nd. It's ruled by Saturn. It emphasizes structured discipline and long-term planning, perfect for grounding your New Year's intentions. Okay, Audrey, that one's yours.
What, the Yule Cat? Yay!
And
Okay.
Krampus.
And Krampus. We all love me some Krampus. Um, so we're giving you guys two of them, but there's many different um actual.
Read the slide first.
Okay. Yeah,
For
sorry. I was trying
who
to
they
find the
are
stories. Yeah.
before you start the stories.
Yes. All right. So we have Krampus the first off, which is Shadow of Saint Nicholas, a horned figure from the Alpine folklore who punishes naughty children, reminding us the balance between light and dark. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I'm sorry,
Mm-mm.
not happening. I'm going to call it the Yule Cat of Iceland, a giant beast who eats those who haven't received new clothes for Christmas, encouraging industry and preparation before a holiday.
Oh, well, I won't be here very long.
No, technically your sweatshirt counts. Technically the sweatshirt counts.
Yola Couturin.
Y'all good luck trying to pronounce that. Oh. Okay. I'm just pulling it up now because there we go. All right. So Krampus, we like we said, we are we discovered that Krampus is a horn. And I'm not be able to pronounce that word. Say that word for me.
Anthropomorphic figure.
Thank you. I wasn't. In Central and Eastern Alpine folklore, this is really kind of after more Norse tradition. But we hear a lot of stories of where he is kind of like Santa Claus's evil brother in a sense. And we hear a lot of stories where he comes and if children are naughty, I got one. Um and they're very well, very misbehaved and very disrespectful. He'll take them in a sack and beat them with a, broom of sticks or is it something like that. And so um so if you got a bad kid, we'll send Krampus your way because I got one. I got one here that I might need to have Krampus come visit. Um, and then the Yule Cat. The Yule Cat's really kind of fun. I've actually got a good crack out of the story. Um, give me just a second because my phone's being ridiculous. But we love it. Okay, so what is the purpose of a Yule Cat? In Icelandic folklore, it serves as a fearsome creature that eats people, specifically children, who don't receive new clothes for Christmas, acting as a powerful motivator for hard work, diligent completion of autumn chores, especially wool processing, and it rewards good behavior with new garments. It's supposed to be a stark, fearsome-based incentive for productivity linked to the Yule lads and gorilla, reminding Icelanders to prepare for winter and value diligence. Now, I kind of want to touch base on that one because the Yule Lads is actually a really interesting story, and I think I talked with Mama Carolyn about this earlier. This one's actually kind of funny. You guys would definitely get a crack out of this one. It's really short, so hold on. Thank you. Okay. So, the Yule Lads are 13 mischievous troll like figures from Icelandic folklore who visit children on the 13 nights before Christmas, leaving us small gifts and shoes, or sometimes a rotten potato for misbehaved children, evolving from scary creatures to more benevolent pranksters, similar to Santa Claus but with unique food related mischief. Each lad is descriptive name like sheep coat, clod, or sausage swiper, reflecting their quirky habits. They are a part of a larger family, including their ogreous mother, Gorilla, and a predatory Yule cat. Um, so the thing about their mother, and you guys are gonna be like, what the hell? She likes to eat bad children. Um,
Yeah, these are like fairy tales.
Fairy tales.
Not Disney.
No,
Fairy tale.
no. Wait, we we um we just like to keep in mind that these are fairy tales and Oh, fairy tales already come with a little bit of a truth to it. Grilla is an ogress with an appetite for flesh of mischievous children, whom she cooks in a large pot. Her husband is a lazy and mostly stays at home in their cave. So, if all of us parents that have bad children, well, we can send them certain places. I don't know how
Bring these back.
yeah,
Bring these
They'll send them
traditions
back.
back.
right. Um, so we get these little you think about it, in that sense, like these stories were so heavily integrated in their society where now like we laugh about it and we kind of chuckle about it, but we really like back then they really believed that these people would come down from the mountains and take our misbehaved children, and it was so heavily believed. So I mean, keep this in mind. I think fairy tales or stories like this, like we laugh about it now, but
There's always
honestly, let's bring it back.
there's
Like,
always a kernel of truth in there somewhere.
mm,
And a lot of these were cautionary tales to get children to behave,
Yep.
which is why they were, well, pretty brutal to really impress on these young minds the necessity for following the rules.
yes,
So,
honestly, bring that back. I just kind of find it funny that everyone paints this holiday as like this happy-go-lucky holiday. It is, but it isn't. You know,
well, we've Disneyed up Christmas
oh
just like everything else.
yes,
So, we
Mm-hmm.
have the traditional feast. What is
Mm-hmm.
the
Brew, come on, bud.
The
Thank
traditional
you.
feast. Feasting is a way to
ooh,
celebrate abundance and survival. Roast pork, honoring Frere and the boar.
that
The Yule
sounds
log
good.
cake, a sweet
Mm.
representation of the wooden log. Guasal, spiced cider with apples and oranges to toast to health. Gingerbread, warming spices for protection and comfort. And Audrey is going to go over the 12 days of Yule.
Yes, I am. I'm really excited about this, guys. Don't mind me and my excitedness. It's a thing.
Just stay on track.
I know. All right. Okay. So now I gotta scroll all the way back to the top because my stupid phone. Give me just a second, guys. My phone was being a little absolutely ridiculous. All right.
Mother's Night's first one.
Yep, that's where I was
Woohoo!
going. My phone was just being ridiculous.
I
All
know.
right. Day one is Mother's Night. This is the 12 days of Yule, the calendar that begins with Mother's Night, a Mahadrant, because it's the oldest historically attested midwinter ritual in the Germanic and Nordic worlds. The 8th century English monk Venerably Bede records it.
That's the vulnerable bead.
Oh, okay. Well, then I definitely know I said that wrong.
Venerable. It's the venerable bead.
The
What?
hold on. Ah, that word right there.
The temporum ratione.
All right. Thank you. I know I was going to pronounce that wrong. As an Anglo-Saxon pagan New Year, which would later become Christmas Eve. They began the year on the eighth calends of January, where we now celebrate the birth of the Lord. That very night, which we hold so sacred, they used to call by the heathen word Mahadre, which is Mother's Night, because we suspect of the ceremonies they enact all that night. He doesn't describe the rites. The scholars have connected them to the matriz of the Mahoney, a protective and often chorithic female spirits who worked with the Roman era Germanic and Celtic regions for protection, health, and prosperity. So I'm going to give you a little bit of how to celebrate the first night of Yule. And we're going to prepare a votive offering of bread, milk, beer, or honey cakes. Light a hearth fire, a candle, or a Yule log to symbolize the domestic warmth and protection. You may carve rune signals or place requests in your logs. And, and in the fire underneath your candles before lighting. You may relight at every night. Name the mothers out loud. This can include your own female ancestors. as well as an open call to any female protective spirits or female deities you work with. Give an offering of libation of milk or ale. By pouring it onto an earth, a bowl, or a small dish, and placed near the hearth or outside thresholds. These locations were symbolically associated with protective spirits. Offer gratitude when asked for the well being of home, fertility of land or people, the protection through a winter, and the guidance through a new year. Choose or close with a shared meal, dedicating the portion of this meal to the mothers. While in the Dustblock, the Norse rite of honoring the Disir, a separate tradition, is typically held in autumn or early winter. These themes parallel with those of Mother's Night. If you choose to draw from Norse framework, you might prepare a sacrificial meal, offer a portion of the food, ale, or mead, and name your maternal and ancestral protectors. Enjoy the share feast and ask for luck and protection. And we're going to go on to day 2. This is also known as Boar's Night. I'm going to try to pronounce this. I'm probably going to butcher it.
See ya.
Day 2.
Yola
See,
Karen's our dictionary and thesaurus.
yes, we love it. This is also, we talked about this god earlier, Freyr. This is a big midwinter feast honoring Freyr in the year ahead. People made oaths, shared a meal, and sacrificed a boar. It was typically held near the start of the Yule, where you choose to celebrate Yule at the winter solstice. You can also honor the return of the sun on this day. So, for rituals for this night, they would serve boar or roasted pork, or create a symbiotic centerpiece shaped like a boar. Make an oath to what you will commit to in the new year as a nod to the old. Give an offering to your ancestors and to the gods. Raise a cup in honor of a deity, an ancestor, or a virtue. So something that is very predominant in Norse culture is that when you make an oath, and this is something my grandmother has always taught me, that your word is worth more than gold. So on this day, this is when the oaths would be made, whether it's to your chieftain or to your family or to whoever the case may be. These oaths were the day you would make these. Um, so we're talking about, he's also a god of fertility and peace and prosperity. So this is where you're getting the feast and the oath making. I'm gonna move past that. Okay. Yep. Raise a cup in honor of the person you make an oath to and your deities. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to day 3. Uh, yeah, good luck with that one. I'll help you pronounce that one
the Vetter.
better. Okay, that's not how I saw it. But okay,
Or Veter.
Peter. Okay. Okay. The Veeder are land and house spirits, believed to bring luck and protection when treated well. Yule was a time to tidy your home, leave offerings, and refresh your friendship and relationships with the spirits of the land. The rituals: clean your home and tidy your thresholds. Leave a small offering of porridge, butter, and cream, or beer near your front steps. Light a lantern or a candle outside the windowsills as a sign of welcome. Acknowledge the spirits with words of gratitude. Don't make loud noises during the night. Um, our spirit, these spirits would often protect the home and the land, and they interact with humans and treated if treated respectfully. These spirits were honored with offerings at seasonal transitions, especially Yule. When the veil is thin, household luck for the coming year could be secured or lost. Um, in some of these sagas, these spirits would be wandering the land. A lot of times they were known to the families, but a lot of times they were not. They were also known to guard livestock, and if neglected or insulted in any way, they get very angry. So, to honor these spirits, clean your home and your thresholds. Leave small offerings. Light a candle or lantern. Acknowledge, and don't be mean and make loud noises. They get a little testy. And day 4, the wild hunt. The winter nights were thought to bring a ghostly procession led by Odin or other spirits. People stayed indoors, protected in their homes, and honored the dead. So for rituals, you can do stay indoors after dark, light a candle or small fire that you can see from your windows, leave an offering at your threshold or in the garden or at a crossroads. Close all the windows and doors and cloak your mirrors before dusk. Honor the dead. Set your protections in your wards. Um, so I really don't want to give away next week, so I'm gonna kind of just leave that one there.
Go to day 5.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I'm going down to day 5. Day 5 is the divination day. Yule was a liminal magical time, and people often looked for signs and omens of the upcoming year. Today, it's perfect for making runes, casting them, and reading tarot and dream journaling, or any form of divination you will connect with. Make your own runes by painting or carving stones or wood. Cast your runes for the year ahead. Begin a divination journal. Try other forms of divination that might be new to you. I think that's very um okay, so a little backstory on this is according to myth, Odin suspended himself in Yggdrasil, the world tree, for 9 nights in quest of wisdom. In doing so, he was able to understand and gasp at the runes as they told him the secrets of language, magic, and fate. Um, so I would definitely recommend if you don't know anything about runes, do your research. They're really hard to read. I know how to read them a little bit. Um, I'll stick with my tarot.
To read.
I,
It just takes
Brew,
practice
come on.
like anything else.
Come on, dude.
I
Um,
noticed that Yule
if
is
you're not
as well as
comfortable with
Samhain
runes, I
has a
would
lot
definitely
of liminal
recommend you.
spaces.
Say
Do
that
you
again.
notice that?
What's that?
They have a lot of liminal spaces, just like Samhain.
Yeah,
Yule
Yes.
does.
that's why Yule and Samhain are really heavy holidays. We see them more.
I think it has a lot to do with it being the longest night.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Um, again, if you're not comfortable using runes, tarot, oracle, mirror scrying, tea leaf reading, use any divination tool that you are comfortable with. If you want to try something new, I, huh? What?
Let's just.
Oh yeah. But yeah, and day 6 is Odin's night. Odin is the Norse god of wisdom, poetry, magic, prophecy, and war. And during Yule, he leads the wild hunt through the midwinter skies, receives oaths at Dragonfall, and later folklore delivered gifts to children. This is a night about reflection, seeking insight, reading the Havamal, or offering mead in his honor. And that's pretty simple. You think of it as, if you work with Odin, you're gonna really heavily work, offer him this at this night. It's his night. Offer mead, read the runes, Havenmal, if you those. So we're gonna move on to day 7, and this is based on Swedish folklore tradition. The year of the walk is a silent, solo winter journey taken to gain knowledge about what was to come in the following year. Go on a walk alone in a safe area. Do not speak, listen to the podcast or music, and look at social media or read anything on the internet as you walk. Pay attention. Avoid things that might not be as they seem. Journal everything that happens to you on your return. Um, so yeah, I mean that's pretty simple. Day 8, the Winter Gods Day. This is a day that honors the gods tied to winter or protection. These include Skadi, the Norse goddess of winter, her consort Yoler, the god of skiing, archery, and winter hunting, and Thor. Connect with the cold. You could go on a walk or sit by a window and admire the winter. Set up wards for winter if you haven't done so yet. Make an offering to the winter gods. Light a candle or burn your Yule log and toast them by the fire. Um, so I'm really not going to go to detail because it's a lot. So connect with the weather if you're comfortable with cold. Do wardings. If you feel that your home needs a little extra, do that. Make an offering, toast by the fire. And Edda's night is day 9. Storytelling was a huge part of Yule. This night was for reading myths, sharing family stories, or revisiting tales from the Eddas and sagas. Now, you don't have to follow Norse tradition, but this is a night where I guess we would gather as a family and we would talk about the year and the crazy stories. And we sit there as a family enjoying together.
I read the night before Christmas or whatever,
Someday, yeah.
you know.
So each of these you can work into your own practice and as a thing, just do it that way. Day 10 is hospitality day. Hospitality was a core Norse value, especially in winter. This day was all about generosity. It could be sharing a meal, checking on someone who might be alone, or doing something kind with no expectation in return. Share a meal, invite someone over, bring food to a friend, or donate to a local food pantry or someone in need. Welcome someone in, reach out to someone who might be alone or overlooked during the season. Honor your guests. And if you're hosting, treat your guests with genuine care. Make a community offering, support a cause, or contribute anonymously. And this, you run through this in a lot of these days. Be generous, be kind, and who knows what the new year holds. As we walk through these days, we keep that in mind. Day 11, the Yule goat. The Yule goat is an old Scandinavian symbol linked to protection, mischief, and sometimes gift giving. Bake or burn a Yule goat. Make a goat-shaped cookies or craft small straw goats and then burn them as an offering. Play Jewel Book. Secretly deliver a small gift or treat to a neighbor anonymously if you can. The spirit of this tradition is mischief combined with generosity. Toast to Thor. Raise a cup of mead or ale or cider in honor of Thor and his chariot, who was also pulled by goats. Add a goat to your altar. Place a straw goat on your Yule altar. Represent protection and fertility. I think we are on day 12, the final day. And this is Fate Day. The Norns are beings that represented the past, the present, and the future. This final day is for looking back, looking forward, and setting your intention for the coming year. So for a ritual, you can create a small thread or a charm or a braid with 3 colors that represent your timeline. What you've learned from what has been and what is present now, and what you are stepping into and what you hope will become. Visualize your future and finish the festival with an oath. Speak one last oath to close the festival. This can be a promise to yourself or to the gods and how you will walk forward in the new season and in the new year. And those are the 12 days of Yule.
Yay.
Ways to celebrate. Lighting the Yule log, a sensual ritual. If you lack a fireplace, light a candle to symbolize the returning fire. Decorating. Adorn an evergreen tree with natural ornaments like pine cones, dried orange slices, and cinnamon sticks. Solstice visual. Stay awake through the longest night to greet the dawn, welcoming back the sun. Yeah, like I can stay awake that long.
Yeah. That's why I was like, what?
Sailing.
That's
Singing
nothing
to the
correct.
trees. Ooh, our neighbors to spread blessings and ensure a bountiful harvest next year.
You'll probably get a
And
better reaction from the trees.
I know.
People don't like caroling anymore.
I did that in church. I ain't done it since church either. Blessed be. May your Yuletide be bright and your new year filled with magic. And I know Jess had a
Amen.
question, at least
So let it
one that I
be.
saw about mistletoe and what it would be used for in ritual. And
Um,
from, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
uh,
you can use mistletoe for lots of stuff.
oh yes.
It's a very protective plant. You can use it in protection spells. You can use it for all kinds of stuff.
A lot of
Fertility,
Celtic
love,
Yeah.
in Celtic
protection,
Yeah.
fertility.
healing.
She just said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the fertility. I heard the healing and protection.
And you can use it in several spells
Mm.
if you have it on hand.
If not, I mean, I can take some time out and find a couple of rituals
But
that do have that in there. So if you give me like a day, I'll be able to post some as well.
this is one, though, if you keep it in your apothecary, mark it as poison because it is.
Yes.
Yes.
And it opens spiritual thresholds as well. So your liminal spaces, it opens them up.
Why do you think we get the myth if you hang the mistletoe
Over a threshold.
Yep.
That's why you hang it in a doorway.
Yep.
You hang it in a liminal space.
Yep. It's seen as, I believe I talked about this, where mistletoe is seen as if you kiss your love under the mistletoe, that can mean a solid relationship. Humans are notorious for not having solid, but it's a nice little idea.
It's a nice custom.
It's a nice little custom.
Yeah, it's
And one
definitely
that survived from pagan into
Modern
Christian.
witchcraft. And
Well,
Christian.
into Christian tradition as well.
Mm-hmm.
I we grew up with mistletoe hanging in our house, so it's just one of those things that people have kept and rolled over into Christianity. There's
Mm-hmm.
quite a few things about Christmas that is of pagan origins. As we all know, many of our customs have come down from the pagans and were co-opted into Christianity. And the reason this was done is to make it more palatable to the pagans who were currently practicing in um, a polytheistic type of religion, um, and make it easier to switch to a monotheistic religion because
Mm-hmm.
that's what the pagan Romans were doing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the pagans actually stole Christianity and co-opted it, and it all became Christian after that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how that happened.
Yep.
Okay.
But take the old traditions, marry them with the new. It's like the make new friends, but keep the old. One is
Old.
silver and the other's gold.
Yep.
So
I think what I like to take from a lot of these traditions is they made sense for the time that they were in, and now that we are in a newer age, it's okay to understand the traditions. If you want to adopt them into your practice, that's amazing, but keep in mind to, I guess, what's the term, modernize a little bit.
if you want to,
You want to, you
You
can
don't see me
keep
going out in the
going.
backyard and sacrificing a bull to the frame.
but I would consider putting a straw goat on my altar, which I hadn't ever done that before.
That's part of the reason why this coming week I'm actually going to be shooting up my
Had
altar.
some straw, and I would
Um,
figure out how to make a straw goat.
I'll
Doesn't
talk.
look too hard.
Yeah, I talked to Mike about that. He's going to try to get us
Red
some.
string.
Yeah, we're going to try to get us some, or that we could probably get some like corn. The corn. We try to do it that way too.
With corn husks.
Yeah,
Corn husk.
yeah. I made a goat out of corn.
Have you?
Yeah, I just got like sticks and stuff, and wrap the corn husk around the sticks as a shape of
Oh,
a goat. So we can get sticks for the backyard. That's not hard. We just need to, we can figure it out. It ain't hard to do. Um, but a lot of these traditions, I mean, the idea of toasting to the spirits, since it's such a time like Samhain, we're in this is where the veil is thin. Explains a lot of things. But we give the offerings to these spirits and we let them know, hey, we're honoring you. This is this time of the year. We're honoring you and thank you for being here as our ancestors and our guides. I think it's a really wonderful tradition. And the idea of Mother's Night is my favorite. You know, most of us have all lost mothers in some sort of fashion.
Mm.
And maybe this is a time where we can acknowledge the loss, but accept the healing as well.
Mm-hmm. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about your ancestors. It's about
Mhm.
your
Mm-hmm.
female lineage, which I think is really cool. It makes me want to go back through my geno- um,
Genial.
genealogy, which my
Genealogy.
sister has done, and write down some names.
Mm-hmm.
Get some names to put down. Gosh, she traced ours back so far. That's like 11th century in France, I believe. And I don't know how far back in England,
Yeah.
at least that far.
Mine was England and Ireland, and we went back to the 1300s.
Yeah, and
We went back
Wales, she traced that back pretty far too.
on my mother's side, the Scottish side, we went back. We are actually related to the Stuarts. We're related to Queen Mary of Scots, but her half brother. Well, we were one of the bastard children of her half brother, but oh yeah,
John of Gaunt is one of my relatives. When was he like a Lancaster or a York or something back in the war during the
he was a
War of the
York.
Roses.
He was, I think he was
So
York. He
I'm
was
gonna
York.
stop the recording, guys.
Wait, again, like
One
if you,
minute.
I'm more than happy. Oh, you go ahead. You can stop it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. But if you guys want me to post a detailed